hanging out with comic books from coast to coast. I'm Joe Leonardo, and I'm hanging with my buddy over there in Maine on the East
Maine,
Coast,
Bangor, Maine.
Bangor, Maine, like just down the road from Pennywise and
Mm.
all the other monsters from Stephen King universe. What's going on,
Yeah,
Alex?
yeah. Oh, not too much. I
You ever
actually,
hear
I
you
still
ever hear
am going
voices from the
to.
sewer?
What's that?
Said you ever hear voices coming from the sewer?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually am thinking of doing a some sort of podcast or whatever of visiting the places that inspired all of those storylines. So I'm probably. Have you read every Stephen King book?
Well, certainly not everything, not by any means,
A
but
majority?
I've gotten down on, like, especially like the early ones, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Cujo or Carrie, like I don't think I did Firestarter,
Yeah.
but just about everything else, like The
Yeah.
Shining and
Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
Stand, and
I'm gonna visit the places that inspired. Like I'm gonna go to the stream where and the covered bridge. It isn't there anymore, but there is a bridge there, and I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna go to the standpipe, and I'm gonna go to all of these different places that inspired
I think
those
it's just
stories.
fantastic that you live out there, man. I'm a little jealous because I'm such a huge Stephen King fan. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'd be, I'd be like, I would have been like, he would already have like a, what do they do, a 50-yard, stay away command or whatever. You know what I mean? For me by
Yeah.
now, you know what I mean? If I lived down there.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about Sentinel Sam, Jamie Barrows, who we had on the show with us once talking about Crom. I think we were talking about Crom, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Um, and
Well,
he has this.
we were going over the first issue of
Yeah,
Crom.
yeah,
Jamie
yeah,
Barrows' Crom, because
yeah,
there's
yeah. Which
several
was
different Crom, anthologies out there. There's Kurt
right,
Bruegel's Crom as well.
right, right, right. But neither of us are in that. We're both of us are in the Jamie Barrows as Croms.
Actually,
So
I
we're
am in that Kurt. I'm in that Kurt Bruegel thing somewhere. Like he called me up and asked me to put the first that double page spread of the apes or whatever.
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I think I have I think my thing from Jamie's third one is the final one of Crom jumping out of the window there. Um but yeah, so but this Sentinel Sam is a completely different IP from Jamie, and I liked it. Which one do you have
huh?
do you have the mini?
Um,
You have the
is
mini.
that is you calling this the mini?
It's not a mini for you?
No, I have it in full size.
Huh, huh. He must have, made a larger size, and there's the smaller size because this is a mini, you
He
can
probably
do the
he probably
do the
just likes
difference.
me better than you.
Probably, I don't blame him. Um,
Hey, we got
uh,
8 people watching live, and I'd just like to stop and say hi to everyone out there who, let's see, Dath and Garcia.
yeah, Death
Darth
Garcia,
and,
six
Darth and
seven, six
Garcia.
seven,
Yeah.
6'7".
Yeah, nice, 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 nice. I'm digging on it. What's up? Nice to see everybody coming by and hanging out. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I got these a while back, and I read through them. I had actually put up a post about them on my Instagram, and like I love anybody who does independent stuff, and it's super cool to see someone like Jamie, who usually I don't know, his stuff tends to lean more towards fantasy and
yeah, yeah,
or like street level, you know what I mean, like gritty kind of things or whatever. Bad Street is this sort of like video game esque kind of like hardcore scenario storylines, and it's cool to see something existential like Sentinel Sam come out of a guy like Jamie.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's. I think a lot of us, not everybody. Some people just like one thing, but like, I mean, you and I talk about all kinds of different, whether it's superheroes or fantasy or science fiction or
Yeah, yeah. It's like
we're
you want
in
to do
that
all
whole
of them.
thing. And
Yeah,
yes, and we all love all of that stuff. And I primarily love sword and sorcery comics to draw, but I loved everything, you know. I love fiction, nonfiction, biographies, you know, all of that stuff. And I think that just shows a depth to Jamie's work that he has, that he's not, you know, stuck on one thing.
Yeah, really think like anybody benefits from pushing yourself into areas where you're not necessarily comfortable. Like in that Christmas one I'm doing for my daughter right now, it's a Disney thing, and it's really kind of
Yeah,
like rewarding doing it, even though it's really hard or whatever. But even beyond that, just like like you were saying, like you prefer like a fantasy setting or whatever. Like I personally, like I gel way more with like the like superhero aesthetic with
yeah,
buildings and and
yeah,
alleyways and that kind of thing is like my jam. And I can I'm also pretty good at the futuristic stuff too. Like if I'm down on like some sort of matrix looking thing with a lot of tech, and something like that, you know what I mean? Like I could gel on stuff like that real easy too. And the sword and sorcery stuff is like always been a little bit of a like sometimes I hit it and sometimes I don't when I was growing up, you know what I mean? Because like a
yeah,
lot of times I would like because I was never very good at the whole like drawing horses and that kind of thing, But I've
yeah.
gotten,
Horses are tough.
yeah, as I've gotten older, I mean, like you just, you breach those little hurdles or whatever, you know what I mean? And now sword and sorcery is something I'm starting to enjoy, and it's like I'm thinking about more and more. Like I want to do like before like when we finish up this thing, like and hopefully by maybe the end of next year or something like that. I mean, like the issues we're doing, we have planned for what we're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
And I want to stop before we like plan something else big. And I want to do just like a one thing, like, Morgrim meets freaking, Windblade or something like that
yeah.
story.
That'd be
You know what
cool.
I mean? Because I just want to stop and do like a one piece story
Something
that
different. Yeah.
yeah, that just has that's self-contained in that one issue or whatever, you know what I mean? And do something like that.
So let's look at Sentinel Sam Origin 3 short comics, because
Yeah,
this is the first one that he did. Because does yours have this back, the Origin creator's note?
no, actually, well, let me see. Maybe mine's in here somewhere else or something
What's up,
because it has a
James?
little bit of back material.
It doesn't have the back page.
No, no, no,
Doesn't
no,
have that.
no. It does have this little Sentinel Sam Origin copyright 2023. No, oh wait, no, no. It doesn't have any like little back thing like yours does or whatever.
Huh.
Mine does have this little oh wait, no, okay, here it is.
Yeah,
Here it is.
yeah,
I have it too.
yeah. It's just basically him talking about how he came about creating Sentinel Sam and the direction that he was going in and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to get a creator's notes on how something was created and stuff. That's always great. I mean, we have that YouTube, you know, where people are drawing and creating and stuff. So it's an awesome thing that we have that now, so we can actually see the creator inspirations, I guess.
Yeah, dude, like I mean, this is super cool or whatever. I myself, you know, like when dude, like it's like I don't want to like diminish myself in the eyes of myself and others, but it's like I never put so much thought into my things, you know what I mean, dude? Like I'm
Yeah,
just like, I'm gonna do this, and then I just sit down and I just start doing it, you know what I mean? Like, what's a cool story? Like, or and it might not even be like, I might not even be like, what's a cool story? I'll just be like, what's something like what do I want to I'm going to draw a spaceship coming out of
right,
hyperspeed and then like
right,
some cool looking guys at the command, and you know what I mean, and the whole story will like start with something like that. Like it won't even be like, you know what I mean, I wouldn't even be like, well, I'm going to sit down and do this thing, and in this like these 15 pages I'm going to tell this kind of story. Like it'll just be like,
right.
what do I want to like, how can I make the next thing look really cool? And I'll dude, honestly, like Six Lords of Sound was pretty much like written and created that way. You know what I mean? Like I really didn't sit down at any point and write any kind of outline. I didn't like make up bad guys or any of that stuff. I just started drawing crap I thought was cool and just started,
Well,
kind of
that everybody
vagary.
has a different process. I'm the same way. I don't write scripts or anything like that. I just, you know, sit down and draw. But I usually have like a theme or characters or something going through my head, and I'm working on them as I'm like getting ready to fall asleep, or as I'm, getting ready for work or the morning or whatever. I'm like formulating in my head, so I do know pretty much exactly what I'm going to write or put down.
Yeah,
So
yeah, like I have a 45-minute drive to every day and a 45-minute drive from work, and I don't listen to music, and I spend all that time thinking about the story stuff and like, things the characters will say and do. And
yeah,
I wrote my books the same way, where I just think about it in my head like a living thing or whatever, and then I come back later and draw that or whatever.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like that. The thing we're working on, the Entropy Alliance, during the fight or after the fight scene, um, like Superion has smashed up the Admiral's face or whatever, and the Admiral's like, keep going, keep doing it, or finish me or whatever. I deserve
Uh-huh.
it. But then he's like, but then he's like, um, even though you deserve it too, because you're the reason they're here, you let them go. And that's when Superion kind of is like,
Is
oh,
like
I
faced
failed
with his
too.
own diminishments, yeah, with his own
Right, right, right. So
insignificance.
they both fail, and that's kind of just how it ends. They both
Dude,
realize that they lost the fight, and they've lost the
that's
battle
so
with the
perfect because we want them to later on be friends, and their friendship
right,
together
right,
with everybody else is what's going to redeem all this stuff. You know what I mean?
right,
And
right.
I think about all that stuff too. Like I was like kind of in my head, I was like, in the scene, like because I know we have the scene where Dr. Entry, kills Superion essentially,
Yeah,
and at the very end, as he's just pummeling him, and I was, in my head, I have this scene. It's like the end of the Matrix where they're just like he's just got him by his neck and he's just pounding him and pounding him as he's just like commenting towards the surface of the planet. You know what I mean, about the strike and make this nuclear bomb go off and like just before like all this happens, he's like, I took all those things, dude. He's like, I ate your planet. He's like, we ate all these other planets. You stop it. He's like, now I'm here and you followed me here. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, just like I wanted you to. And he's like, and
yeah,
you're going to watch me eat this whole freaking place. You know what I mean? And he's just like, and you know what I see in your eyes is like when I tell you that? He's like, you know what I took from you most? He's like, I took from hope from you. And he's like,
yeah,
and a
yeah,
Superion without hope is like a religion without faith, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And like, Superion is just like fully shattered right there, and freaking that's when he just like
yeah,
body slams him back to the planet, and
yeah.
and just
I
pretty
do
much
want to read this little part that he wrote, this middle part.
yeah,
I
let's do that, and
created
then we'll get into Jamie's
yeah,
art and all that stuff because
yeah,
like
yeah,
this stuff is really cool and it's a lot of fun to
yeah.
look at.
I created Sam because I wanted a character that I could put into any kind of story and setting. I felt like writing or drawing with an ambiguous and naive space entity that has to learn everything from scratch. I can explore philosophy, meaning, identity, and what it is to be alive and sentient. Also, because Sam wanders into different things along the way, whatever I feel like drawing, I can draw. All I have to do is have Sam find the right planet or realm for it. If I want to explore a thoughtful, intelligent narrative, I can. If I want to make a longer heroic epic, I can. If I just want to draw a few pages of big monsters, I can. Oh, the freedom. And I feel that about random access, but having it in one storyline is really pretty cool. I know that what's his name that does the dragon, he feels the same way about Savage Dragon.
Yeah,
Eric
like
Larson.
I mean, he's pretty, like conscientious about all the stuff this character does too. Like, because
Yeah,
I had, I mean, I have scene in the second Six Lords where Nightblade was going to show up. Nightblade is going to show up, and he's essentially going to be like a Lobo. You know what I mean? And he's
yeah,
there doing a Lobo thing. I won't talk about it because I don't want to ruin my story for people at some point when I ever get to it. But he comes there, and then the Six Lords and him get into a big old thing. And then I had a scene where Sam was going to come along and be this like super overwhelmingly powerful, like what I mean, like Silver Surfer type
yeah,
demigod thing or whatever. And um, I talked to Jamie about it, and he was like, He's like, he's like, Sam doesn't like just go in and start fighting people and stuff like that. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, it was very like, consciously aware of being like, hey, you can't just have this character come in and behave this kind of way, behave this kind of way.
Yeah.
He's very
Yeah.
new, he's very much an infant still who's learning things. And, like, so if you want to approach it, he was like really cool and open about me possibly using it. You know what I mean? But definitely wanted to make sure that the character was like being handled properly in like the order of the
Yeah. Yeah.
context of the character he created. So
That's
that was
totally
cool.
reasonable.
Yeah, it was cool. He's a fun guy to work with. That's why we've all done stuff together,
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Jamie.
certainly want to use Sentinel Sam in some sort of thing. I would
I
love for
want to use him.
him to
He's
meet the
probably gonna
Death
find
Knight.
if everything works out. I definitely want him to make a show up at the end of Entropy. Because I have a
It
scene
would
where
be really awesome if you let us have Sentinel Sam join the Entropy Alliance. So
just
we'll have to work on him.
just
We'll
at
have to
least
work
maybe
on him.
shows up for like a minute, just to like lend a hand or at least observe it taking place or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it would be really cool if he just joined the team, but
yeah. Well,
we'll talk about it.
he's got a lot of growing to do. Sentinel Sam's a child. You know what I mean? Even
He
though
is,
he's
he
an
is, he
overpowered,
is.
like cosmic
That's why
entity.
we got to
Like,
go into this story because this is his awakening. Is this the one with Yeah, this is the one. Let's kind of go through this storyline here because I
yeah,
think
yeah,
of
yeah.
all the stuff that I've read, I think this story embodies his character the most.
You want to just skip to it? Well, let's just touch on
Yeah,
all
let's,
of them
all
because we
right.
have like
Well, yeah,
we have the opening sequence, and I mean like just right off the bat, Sam's a cool design character. He's
yeah,
like there's a guy in oh, I think he's a villain in X Force, and he's just called like Void or something like that, and he was just
yeah,
like a white shape with a circle for a face or something like that, and he just had like a circle on his face. And characters like that are easy to draw. They're fun to draw because you're just
yeah,
doing the human anatomy forms. You know what I mean? And you don't have a
yeah,
character like Sam who's always glowing. You don't have to do a lot of lighting on it or anything like that. You know what I mean? You can just get in and do all the cool muscle aesthetics and get out real fast. You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
like the Silver
yeah.
Surfer.
Yeah,
Just like a character, but
I
you
was
got to
gonna
do all
say
that.
Silver Surfer. Jamie, chime in. How much of the Silver Surfer is Sentinel Sam? That's what I would really like to know.
Yeah, they have very similar things, but Silver Surfer is he's a fully realized
He's not
scientist,
innocent.
super scientist. He's like
He's not
Jor-El almost.
innocent. He's not innocent.
No,
But
no.
in those early Surfer comic books, he really is innocent because like he comes down to Earth and they start shooting him with tanks and stuff, and he's like, "What? Why are you guys doing this? This makes no sense to me. Why you're doing this?" So he kind of is innocent in the ways of man, I guess.
I keep wanting to compare him to Beta Ray Bill. You know Beta Ray Bill?
Of course, I know Baby Ray Bill. Of course,
Just
Thor. Of course, Beta
like
Ray
Beta Ray
Thor.
Bill, a little bit like that, because Beta Ray Bill is like sort of like born something that has the power of a god, like right off the bat or whatever. Isn't he? He's an android or something like that, right?
Yeah. No, he's a cyborg.
Okay, well, cyborg, android, whatever. But I just mean
Well,
like
he's got like alien. He's an alien with robot parts and stuff.
is he? See, like I always thought he would. Doesn't he just like? I thought he was just like not there. Then they just turn him on, and he's like, "I'm Thor," what I mean, like fully, like or whatever, like you know what I mean, and didn't have any like context for his life at that point. I thought that was kind of like one of the interesting ideas about Beta Ray Bill or whatever. Just
No,
like
Beta Ray Bill has he was a guardian. He was chosen to be a guardian. Like his planet had like a planet wide arena
so he's like a
thing.
superior, freaking because that's
Kind
like
of,
his
yeah. I mean,
superior.
because his planet was being destroyed, or they were being attacked by these demons, and so they were going off to do like a Battlestar Galactica kind of thing, and he was supposed to be their protector.
Yeah, I mean
And Jamie
that's
wrote from Silver Surfer and Hellboy, although the aesthetics are not similar in that case of Hellboy. I think is what he's saying.
all right. Hold on, I'm experiencing a. Go ahead and keep talking. I'm
You're
having a little
experiencing
technical
technical
difficulty
difficulties.
here.
So this first one is the origin. So it's really the very first. um, time we ever see um, Sentinel Sam. And I think Jamie was saying, I think he was saying in the first part that this is like his oldest drawings of it, and they're like some of them are 20 years old. So it's like a character that has been in his mind and in his soul for like a long, really long time, and he's trying to figure out how to do it in the best way and stuff, which I really love. I also love the whole space thing, like it's not really easy to draw space. Like you would think that it is easy, but you got all of these planets, and you can just have this blank space, and that makes it completely uninteresting. But you got to make it interesting. So later on, the pages and the panels really come alive with some of the things that he's doing.
Yeah, the tricky thing is like it's like you could approach space a lot of different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like like if you look at all the different guys like that do that kind of stuff, like there's like, oh man, there's so many different ways to like approach it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can just like you'll look at 20 different dudes and they'll all do space 20 different ways. You know what
oh
I
yeah,
mean? Like
oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
trippy, dude. Like you think it's just like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be, I'll just freaking paint it all black and then just do white spots all over it or whatever.
Right,
But it's
right.
like, dude, like look at what other people do and it's wild. You know what I mean? You'll see all kinds of variations. Just,
Yeah,
I mean, we should
kind of like
do an
it's like
episode
how
on
I did
that.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Like we should do an episode on just, looking at like our 10 different favorite artists and how each of those artists handle space. And we'll see
yeah.
10 vastly different things, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
like
definitely,
I
definitely.
like what Jim Starlin did, because like all like in all his like Warlock stuff, he drew space a lot. But it's real like it's got like a lot of like 50s sort of like corniness to
Yeah,
it, like it's like
yeah,
comets and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But they're really cool looking. Or like, dude, like Savage Dragon guy, like when he just does like a starry night, he just goes crazy with the stars, and it'll look fantastic. But I don't even know how you get that many stars on the page. You know what I mean? Like some of
yeah,
those guys,
yeah,
like I don't mean to like veer off, but you said that to me. It's just like Frank Frazetta. I do that thing that Frank Frazetta does where like I draw like these little wisps through it that are supposed to be like space
yeah,
dust or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
So this first page is Sentinel Sand just waking up. Like we never find out. That's why I was hoping you had the second issue after this one. Um, I can't remember what the name of it is. But I'm wondering if we actually find out who he is and where he's from. Um,
See,
but
that's the thing. I don't think you were ever meant to know. Like, I mean, that would be a fun idea for Jamie to explore. Like, what is Sam's inception? How does he come about? You know what I mean? Did he just come about through accretion like a planet does, and space
right,
dust? You know what I mean? Like,
right,
because he just sort of
yeah.
is there. There's darkness, he says, and then, nothing. And then he's just there awake.
Right, right. But also, like some of the best things are ruined, but when you figure out or find out where they're from, it's
Yeah,
like
that's, I mean,
Wolverine. Wolverine became way less popular or way less good when they talked about his origin.
I absolutely hate when they have to do that. It's like one of his origin is that he has no origin. You know what I mean? Like, let's just
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on. Like,
yeah, yeah. It made him the mystery is often so much more appealing than finding out what it is.
oh, for
So
sure, I agree
so
100%.
maybe he won't even show it.
But
I'd be
yeah,
okay with that.
we have this really cool moment where Sam is just like, feeling, what I mean, he's just alive, and that I
Yeah,
get like that's a lot of what like he likes to do with the Sam stuff. Like it's a very existential story. It's
yeah, yeah,
about sensation and it's about emotional ideology, you know what I mean? And what's also really fun is like Jamie's like a pretty heavy black and white artist most of the time. And seeing him, exercise his color stuff like he does on Cyber Zerker and like he's
yeah.
doing here in Sam is always pretty fun to look at. These are
Oh
really
yeah,
great.
definitely.
I like these pages a lot. These colors right here. I love the way.
I love black and white, but I love color too.
Yeah, color always makes it just go, hard. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I like how it's all this icy blues, and then all of a sudden we have this really warm orange here. All orange and red. This like massive explosion. There's a star erupts right next to Sam,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
the first death. He just doesn't know it. He's just not aware enough to realize that that's the first death in life right there. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if Jamie even realizes
Right,
it. You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
but he
Like,
doesn't realize it there.
yeah,
And then he's testing in true typical superhero fashion. He has to test his strength and his speed and all of this other stuff. Even
for
though I don't think
sure.
he's really a superhero. I think that's kind of why he was hesitant to have you or anybody have him in their superhero
Yeah,
comics. Feels like
run
maybe
around
he's not
blasting
supposed to be
people,
a,
cosmic rays or whatever. Like, no, for
yeah,
sure, because he's just I don't, like he's learning what it is to be, alive or whatever. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And just like experiencing sensations that he doesn't necessarily understand. Like, I mean, it takes us like, years and years of context to understand what joy and sadness and fear and
yeah,
happiness
yeah,
are. You know what I mean? Like, so this poor dude's, just like born right out of, cosmic nothingness with the power of a freaking supernova inside him, essentially,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just testing, he doesn't even know he's testing his limits. He's just a horse that could walk instantly, essentially. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So
some animals.
this is the story that I really love because it really kind of shows the innocence of Sentinel Sam. Like you've got this fantastic cover, which I kind of wish that had been the cover instead of this, where he's so interested and fascinated by the simple like little plant or little bug or whatever it is, and he's so like the look on his face is so it says so much about the whole story. Like he's almost afraid. He's he's concerned. He's intrigued. He's all of these different emotions wrapped up in one. But he goes
Dude,
off into this
what I
planet.
love was just not to cut you off, but I just want to
No,
touch
no,
base
go
on
ahead.
how these. I love how he has a cover for each little chapter, because each of these
Yeah,
was a little
yeah,
mini
that's
comic
cool.
he made for a convention or something he went to, and
Yeah,
we're getting the really this really nice put together version of all three of them. But I absolutely love that. You know what I mean? Like on
yeah,
my in the that Man of War thing I was working on, like I really, had aspirations to do that and make them look like the 60s war comic covers or whatever, like have the graphics look like that, with my art or whatever. So I really appreciate what he's doing right here. And I just think it really works well. I also love that Atomic Comics logo. That's really cool.
yeah, yeah. That's a cool logo. But he flies. He just kind of sees this planet, and he's like, "Hey, that's a different looking planet. I've never seen anything like that before." And he just like he swoops down, and he sees all of this different stuff, and he's looking at this animal. Are you gonna you want to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you.
stay with me? And he's just checking out this animal. It reminds there's a video game called No Man's Sky, and it's all about exploring different planets and different animals and stuff. It really kind of reminds me of this, or this reminds me of that, and which is a great thing because it's a fantastic video game. Um, but there's just this animal, and he's like eating his food or whatever, and then he's attacked by this giant dinosaur looking creature. And I love this panel here. It just shows the blood of the creature happening. And then so he eats the creature. And Sentinel Sam, he's at first like a child, he is just so enraged. He's so angry that this creature, this loving creature that he was looking at, I mean, I don't know if it's loving, but this creature that he was looking at gets devoured by this other creature, and then it runs off. And Sentinel Sam, I think this is the first time he uses his powers like this. He like sets off this cosmic blast or whatever, and he kind of
Yeah.
is surprised, and he's made this dent in the world and really doesn't like it. And then he decides to go after the creature that killed the beast, but then he goes and finds out that the creature has a family, and he was bringing the food back to his den, and it just, Sentinel Sam is learning about the circle of life, and for something to live, something else has to die, and it's really a great, I think, microcosm of the Sentinel Sam storyline in general, where he's learning about life
Yeah,
and
that's
death.
what I mean. Like, I think those are really the kind of stories that Jamie's really interested in telling, firstly. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, that Sam could be a character in a Thor adventure real easily. Or like Sam could be a character in, like in a Silver Surfer story, or Sam could
Yeah.
easily be a character in in a Adam Warlock, Jim Starlin,
I was
story.
just
Like,
gonna
you know what I
say,
mean?
didn't Adam Warlock start off like that, where
Yeah,
he
he
was,
does. Yes, yes. There he's
where
just a
he's
baby essentially,
innocent?
and he just gets born or whatever. Like, yeah, the whatever those guys make him or whatever originally to be
Yeah,
like the mate to the supercomputer or something, and then he
yeah,
like breaks off because he has all this existential gloom inside of him or whatever, and can't
yeah,
be a
yeah,
doesn't want to be a perfect thing, but he like sacrifices himself a bunch of times to save the universe, like 5 times or something like that. But
yeah,
yeah, like I think it's fun that Sam has already seen a star blow up. You know what I mean?
right,
But because he doesn't understand that the star is alive in a sentient way, which it isn't, you know what I mean? Even though it is clearly alive, because
yeah,
we're all
yeah,
made up of the matter of stars. Like without stars giving up their life, sentient life couldn't exist because we're made up of the matter that stars eject into the universe. You know what I mean? So without
right,
dead stars, there is no, you know what I mean? As a
yeah,
matter of fact, like what happens when a star dies is its core fuses, and what happens is it makes iron. Iron
right,
happens at the heart of the star, and when that little bit of iron happens, it collapses the entire fusion. And that's why every bit of iron that we have on our planet comes from the heart of some dying star somewhere. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
it's always super like, and like I feel like Sam is like a, sort of like a living on the page, like, version of that kind of like thinking, whatever, you know what I mean? That just sort of like circle of the universe. He's seen the planet die, but doesn't realize the amount of like death that's taking place there. But in this little animal, you know, what he sees
yeah,
reflecting is himself because he's sentient and he sees that the animal is sentient too. And the idea of other sentient life like him brings him full of joy. It makes him super happy
yeah,
to even think of
yeah,
this. But, he doesn't even consider that, something like him might have to perish for something else to live. You know what I mean? And the very
yeah, yeah,
idea, shocks him to his core. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
The fact that he has this panel that says death is only a part of the cycle, so he learns a lesson. I have a feeling he's going to learn a lesson in every storyline, which is awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's just like Jamie just, having a cool place to put down his thoughts on those kind of things, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's always
yeah,
a good, it's always cool to be able to exercise those kind of things in fiction and stuff like that. Cause that's like, that's the best way to influence people. You know what I mean? Like when you just like slide your ideas inside, the story and not make it about that kind of thing, but just make it, feel natural with the process or whatever. And Sam's got that in spades. It's really cool to just like, I mean, and these little short vignettes too, like work really well because they give you just these little dots of, poignant information, like montage of like, Sam's early time, and what's happening with him. And
yeah,
look at that. Look at this page right here, dude. Like,
yeah,
freaking in
yeah,
the next story, where that's so fun, where he goes through this black hole and, is just being like, what do they call that? Spaghetti stringed or
yeah.
whatever, like,
Spaghettified. Yeah, he's
yeah,
spaghettified.
when you become, in every place at the same time or whatever,
Yeah,
freaking inside the heart of
yeah,
the black hole, and what a fun way to draw it. Now, this is like super, like, who am I thinking of? Doctor Strange back in the Steve
yeah,
Ditko or whatever, like
yeah,
super Steve Ditko, Doctor Strange page right here. Like, I would have been like, just because I'm, I would have wanted to put a big, I'd have put a big Sam across all this and like maybe have him going through something or whatever, and half of them up
right,
here and half of them down here, and whatever, and then have
right.
all that playing across it. But that's super cool, man. I love this page. So good. Love this page, Jamie. It's awesome. Love the coloring on this. I love the way like Sam breaks up, each of the like, you know what I mean, like dimensional parameters that are taking place.
Yeah,
Because firstly,
yeah,
he's like soupified into this sort of like, soup string or whatever. And then as it's going along, it begins to sort of like crystallize into these fractals or whatever, that have a more geometry to them, as opposed to a,
yeah,
fluidness or whatever. And then all of it laced with all this cool Kirby crackle and cool interstellar space backdrop. But then we end up in this just like black square, which is super fun. You know what I mean? Like just this like we end up, after all this existential, change that's taking place, it ends in this just like darkness or whatever.
yeah, yeah. When you tip it like this, it really is. It's kind of normal. Like it's got panel to panel from left to right, and it's really kind of odd.
Uh-huh.
Not it's not odd.
And
It's
you know what?
normal. But then you tip it, and it's like completely changes the whole paradigm
And when you
of
read
what
it
you're
too,
reading.
it's not confusing. Like I
Yeah.
was able
No.
to read that without, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because he's got, he knows what he's, doing with the lettering and that kind of thing and laying it
Yeah.
out properly so your eye follows it through. You know what I mean? And a page like that can be very confusing. But no,
Yeah.
he executed
Definitely.
that awesome.
Yeah. Do you have?
And then he
Does
just
yours have this
comes out the
page
other
too?
side. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
that's his very first Sam sketch or whatever.
Yeah. 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 And this is where it shoots him out of the black hole.
Yeah, he just comes out the other side.
Yeah.
Rip, just born back in. It makes me wonder if that's not how he got born in the first place. Maybe he's traveling
That's
through
what
black
I'm
holes.
thinking.
You know what I mean? And got,
Is he really just a black hole?
yeah, I did. So did he just like travel from one universe to another and accidentally get his screen wiped or something?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to look at the next one?
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, and then we have one more.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
one's got this one. I think he's actually upped his production value on this one a little bit.
Yeah. I really love the layouts and the lettering and all of the stuff that he's done.
Because yeah,
He
this one
really
has some beautiful lettering, but I believe it's all done by hand. He did all that by hand. Which is
yeah.
I love personally. Like I like
Yeah.
that. But this looks great too, and this is on Photoshop or something like that. But still a really cool looking font, and it looks really great, and it works really great with the cover, and it
Yeah.
feels fitting for Sam.
Yeah. Jamie said Sam was originally going to be all short comics, just him dropping in and out of adventures, but the full length issues turned into more exploration of existential meaning.
Yeah, I kind of got that a little bit, Jamie. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
I know you're always like you're always working on the mini comics, bro. Like I always see you like every time you go to a convention, you always got like a couple of new like mini Hellboys, or you got like that mini Star Wars you were working on recently, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of work, and that's super cool. So I've kind of like felt like looking at those early that first issue broken up into those little vignettes. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, he must have done each of these as a commitment to a con or something like that, and wanting to have something fresh to bring. Do a little mini comic, print it up for a bunch of people, get it out there, and then you have a few of them, and then you put it together, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, Sam's got his own thing going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just have him flying around, enjoying life.
It literally picks up exactly where this one left off. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
he's
much.
like,
Yeah. It does.
flies off, at the end of this one. He's like, I'm good. He's like, I can do all this stuff. And then, I know I'm alive. He's like, now off to explore. And he's just like exploring
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah. And then we have like we were talking about, the different ways people create space,
Yeah,
whether
Jimmy's
it's
getting a little bit more
gases
more
or.
bold with his colors here. You know what I mean? We see
Yep.
him like exercising his, because the first one he's staying pretty cold. We're staying in those pretty cold color zones or whatever. But this one's we're getting some pinks now, some yellows in here and stuff.
Yeah.
I like the
Yep.
little moon guys right here in this pyramid. Very
Yep.
cool.
It's like the more Sam learns, the more colors he's going to have in his life.
Yeah, that you might be right. Like, the more his world grows, the more, it opens up around him or whatever.
I love this texture here. This reminds me of Mobius texture.
it does a lot of the coloring is a little Mobius vibe too.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that all the lettering in here is done by hand. I know how much
Yeah.
work that takes, and I just like, I mean, I'm not calling out anybody that letters with their computers because, I mean,
Yeah.
I understand how hard lettering is. I mean, just getting the spelling right and the writing right is hard enough. But I just wanted to drop a line of love and just say how much I appreciate the hand lettered this and that. It's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's a double page spread. Your
No,
favorite.
who would imagine that? Double page spread is what makes comics good. Okay, if your comic doesn't have a double page spread, then you're doing something wrong. And as a matter of
Yeah.
fact, and I've been working on. There's going to be a 4-page spread in Entropy Alliance, but I'm going to do it.
Four
Yeah, check it out.
pages.
But I'm going to do it like I'm going to do it like this, right? So like it'll be a 2-page spread, right? And then you'll turn the page, and it'll be a 2-page spread again, right? But if you
Yeah.
buy 2 copies of the book, you'll be able to put one on this page and one on this page, and then butt them up against each other and see
Yeah.
the entire thing.
Yeah. That'd
So
be
I'm
cool.
doing that. It's going to be awesome, dude. I got that
Yeah.
from Jim Starlin. Like Jim Starlin did that
Oh, that's cool.
in the
Jamie
Shield
says,
books.
I had no idea what I was doing trying to format the spreads. I've got it more figured out now, and in the eventual trade paperback, I'll straighten it all up.
Don't straighten it out too much, man. These are perfect just
Yeah.
the way they are, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
these are fantastic the way they are.
yeah, you don't get
I
no
really wouldn't change
criticisms,
anything.
man. I really wouldn't either, dude. They're perfect, like just like
Yeah.
this. You don't have to do any straightening up. Like, think you're like dude. Like, give me a break. Like you're like off on these little white lines right here or something like that. Like, I think you're doing all right. DC Comics gets stuff like that wrong. Marvel print and get things
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
wrong. So,
This is awesome. Another double pager. Another
yeah.
double page
So
spread.
this is cool. Sam's just blasting through all these different
Yeah.
environments, and he's
Yeah.
testing his power. He smashes through this little moon. Wandering around the deep emptiness of space, and then we got this really cool interstellar inspired freaking double pager again. Double
Yeah.
pagers are what do it for me, man. I love it. Like, because this is when the camera opens up. Like, this is a big special effects shot in a film.
Yeah. It is a special effect shot.
And this is like, I mean, this is one shot that he's broken up with these panels, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black holes in this little quadrant. You know what I mean?
Which is it's very super interesting. The thought process of why he did do that, like this. You're right. This could have just been no panels, just this 1-page spread, but he chose to break it up. And it's interesting how people decide how they're going to do that and what their process is.
Yeah, I mean, it is, dude. You're exactly right. Because, like, say, my instincts, I would not, like, I would have this as a panel laid out on top of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I would probably do the panel like all in Kirby Crackle or whatever, or something like that, and just have it
Yeah.
on top of it, and then just have because my thoughts would be like, I would want that to be as overwhelming, like when you look at it, as possible. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
as a matter
Right.
of fact, I have a black hole scene in Entropy Alliance. Like I have like that's how the bad guy travels to the planet, in a black hole that he could control or whatever. And there's the threat that, as it's traveling through the solar system, that he could turn it on at any point, like that. It's like all society will be watching this thing crawl past, all the planets, and like not doing it, not affecting them or whatever, so it's like this anomalous thing that the universe has never seen before. And at some point there'll be the threat of that this guy can literally control this black hole, and like at any moment he could just turn it on, and
Right. But I like this too because it almost gives you a chance to catch your breath. Like you've got this text here that's narration, and then you have this narration, so it kind of breaks it up, so you get a chance to catch your breath on all of this vast
yeah
expanse.
you're exactly right. And that's what I was thinking, like when I read through this or whatever, because it kind of does. It kind of like lets you pace it out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like first you look at it, and then you take in like, oh, it's all these black holes, and then you read the dialogue, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, it is. Like he's remarking on that it's a cluster of black holes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it does because like, once you've taken it all in, then you slow read through it, you know what I mean? And it really does like make you pause and stop and draw it all in or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe is this whole book double page spreads?
It is.
No,
Look at
no,
that.
it's not.
Wow.
I don't think this. I don't think this is
No,
supposed to be.
no, there's like
No, it's
one,
not. But
but it's a lot of them though.
yeah, I think he just
No.
wanted to show the interconnectedness of the pages.
Well, like the tricky thing about the double page spreads is you can only do so much storytelling with them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like they're just
yeah,
for big moments. You can't
yeah,
like because like Six Lords was me trying to almost do that. It was like almost me like trying to tell a whole story with double pages, and you can't hardly. You know what I mean? You have to have real pages in between there.
right.
But yeah, so he still on the other side with the black hole thing going on, and he's just like testing his ability to be right there with this thing, and he just literally like sticks his hand into it, and we see like
Yeah.
the whole hand just become like amorphosized, through all of that, instantly,
The
so
question. The
super.
question is, can Sentinel Sam die?
Yeah, I mean, like it seems like he's sort of like, at least not maybe. Yeah, that's a good question. You know what I
Like
mean?
he's going through. He's going through black holes. He's going through these vortexes and these
Yeah, and there doesn't
anomalies.
seem to be any. He's like, you see him being quantified, like in
Yeah.
different dimensional
Yeah.
fuck versions of himself. Here
Yeah.
he's just like exploding out, into
Yep.
existence. There we see
And then
his
the next page,
slowly just unraveling, like
more
shoestringing
spaghetti
as he unravels.
spaghettification.
Yeah, and then just like, I mean, dude, this is so cool. Like, if you look, you see how this is all one shot, like this up here. Do you
Yeah.
see how it does
Yeah.
that U effect or whatever? This is just hitting
Yeah.
me right now that that's all one piece. So
Yeah.
that's like his hand, like just like he did in the last one, how it crosses from that soupy, liquid vibe over to like the fractal geometric thing he's doing over here, which is like
Yeah. So
very
one
cool, Jamie. I like
thing,
it.
it also reminds me obviously of Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen. And
Oh yeah,
also this
yeah.
kind of stuff from The Watchmen. I'm wondering how much influence that is to Jamie too. And did you, Jamie, did you think about it being too much of a too much like Dr. Manhattan?
It does have that vibe now that you mentioned. It could be just like Dr. Manhattan exploring the universe, like after the Watchmen
Yeah.
or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Because I mean, when I create stuff, I'm always very conscious of if it looks too much like something else that's popular or too much of an influence.
Not me. I just want to rip off whatever I'm ripping off, and I don't care at all.
Like
But no,
that picture I did of the admiral when he's gonna fight Superion and he's got that giant
uh,
eagle on his head. I
dude,
fought
I
with it
love
for a
that.
long time because you've got that Judge Dredd eagle on his shoulder like that. And I'm like, is it too much like it? But I
It's
tried to
not.
change it. So
Honestly, it looks more like Gotcha Man than freaking Judge Dredd, and I love
yeah,
that, dude. It looks more like Battle of the Planets. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I love that shot, dude. That was great. I can't wait to like get moving on the third story. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
have drawn that one double page spread for it. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of stuff in my head. I'm just trying to sew the last threads for number 2 so we can move along. And I'm super
yeah,
close. It's just
yeah.
Christmas and everything happening. But well, it's coming, man. It's coming. But here we go. Like more really cool, like interesting, because like this is Jamie making choices. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
he's a really talented artist, and he's he could draw a lot of different ways. But he's coming in and doing these like flat little planetary things like on purpose or whatever. Like I do, like we got this 12-sided dice thing over here. You know what I mean? And
I was thinking that. I think it's like more supposed to be a gem, like a diamond.
well, what I know that's what it
Or
is, but I'm just saying,
you
like
got these things. Yeah.
it's just cool that he's
I
like,
love these two panels. Like
yeah,
he's
like
got
he drops
his
in all these
faces,
cool
his heads,
ideas.
and they're like planets.
And we see the living, the life grass or whatever, like
Yeah.
the planet with life on it from the the last one or whatever. These like trippy geometric floating, islands. Dude, like these things, like when I look at stuff like this, it's like if you zoomed in, like if you zoomed into this stuff right here, you
Yeah.
would find castles and stuff. And that's
Yeah.
probably where
Yeah. Yeah.
this is where
Definitely.
Cyber Zerker is happening right now. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? Like, you know,
Jamie says it is a concern because of the visual similarities, but the personification of Sam is different enough to delineate them. I think Sam will never be as distantly callous as Dr. Manhattan, that's
yeah,
awesome. That's interesting.
he also doesn't have his penis hanging out too. So,
Yeah, also doesn't have
he's
penis
pretty
hanging out.
easily definable from him. You know what I mean? For
Were
sure.
you when you first saw Dr. Manhattan, were you like, what the hell? There's a dick. There's a dick in the on this comic book.
I really wasn't, but I'm, simply because like when I looked at that stuff, like, okay, like I didn't like it to begin with, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can very viscerally remember standing in Atlantis Fantasy World, which is the comic book store from
Yeah.
Lost Boys,
Yeah.
which was and holding up Watchmen and holding up the Dark Knight. And I remember paging. It was the issue that had the issue where freaking the comedian tries to rape Miss Jupiter
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just remember that big panel of him with his, like holding his, with his pants, down and trying to pull his pants up or whatever. And, and he got his ass kicked by freaking the Hooded Menace guy or whatever, And I just remember looking at it and just thinking how grotesque it was to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I paged through a few more pages, and there's Dr. Manhattan's dick out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, like I see what this book is like. This is an English book, and it's trying to be like gross, like Judge Dredd or something like that. And it's like, this is not for me. And I just put it down and never looked at it again.
Well, you should watch. You should read
Dark
it.
Knight.
You should read it.
You know what, dude? I'm going to
go
get
back
down
and read the
do that
Watchmen
at some point. Because I've been going through, like, I've been looking through some of my stuff that I know Alan Moore did, like some of the Wildcats that he did that I have. And I recently sat down and I read this really awesome Glory that he did,
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's insane. I don't know, like if there's magic, like that guy sold his soul to a devil or something, like,
I think so.
He has the ability to do like in 8 pages what I can't do in 80 pages. You know what I mean, dude? Like
it's amazing. His
I don't know how he
phraseology
does
is
it,
just
dude. Like he just like his like just ability, like he just knows everything Silver Age, and then knows how to like run it through a filter and turn it into modern content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you feel like you're looking at something Silver Age through this modern lens that makes it all makes you understand and connect to it. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, like it's fantastic.
Have
And
you ever read
really
Have you ever read Miracle Man?
Yeah, I did read Miracle Man. Yeah,
Miracle Man is just amazing. It's just crazy.
It's brutal. Yeah, that's crazy.
It is brutal, but it's amazing.
But we're gonna be heading in directions like that with the next issues. You know what I mean? Like I have every plans on doing some pretty gnarly stuff like that. Because you have to just to keep up with like things like Invincible that are like laying out the line of what people expect now. You know what I mean? With a story like that. And I want to, push the veil. You know what I mean? There's no reason to do something like that if you're not gonna like, exercise your legs. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to think what has been done before in other comics for superheroes. Basically everything's been done. So you need to try to do something fresh and different.
Yeah, and even if you are doing something that is a trope or whatever, or you're approaching something that's been done before, at the very least, you have to truly do your version of it and not just be like, oh, this has been done before, so I'm going to do it just like this. You know what I mean? You have to approach it like this is or you pretend it hasn't been done before and do it better. You know what I mean? Or that kind of thing,
Right.
But we have this like moment where, Sam's comes into like another dimension because this guy's just traveling around dimensions like nobody's business,
Wait, I love this panel. Check this panel out. The lettering and the words, the narration. It's like it opens fully, and I am ejected. I love that. That's amazing.
He's like, yeah, I like how yeah, how he's like he's in this little cannonball here when he comes out or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if you go to the left on yours or whatever, like so it looks like, even though you know it's like, yeah, he just like, he's like a bullet or whatever, and then he's like boom, and then his arms and legs come flying out behind him finally as he like becomes fully like
yeah, yeah,
ejaculated into this universe or whatever.
yeah. But
And
you're right. Yeah,
just like,
here's the fantastic colors
yeah,
on the
dude,
next
and
page.
I love that how the it opens fully, has like the right side of it exploding, like the box itself is literally
Yeah,
exploding
yeah,
as he like
yeah,
comes out. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's little things like that that really can make a comic book. It makes it, you can either have your standard regular comic book, or you can have something that makes it a little bit different and exciting. And that's one
Yeah,
of the
like in
things that makes it.
that Green Lantern thing I showed last week or whatever. Like when I'd drawn that scene where he was yawning, and I put the little stretch between the YA and the W, and so it was like
Yeah,
yawn or whatever. It
yeah.
was like in my head. Like when I did that, I was like, "Oh, this is so clever." I was like, "This is the cleverest thing ever." When I did that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is. It's little things like it's little touches like that that really draw people into the story stuff or whatever. But yeah, here's more really great colors.
You
I
know what
do
these
love
these 2 pages remind me of? Den from Heavy Metal.
Yeah,
Where he's.
definitely. He definitely has a little bit of a Richard Corbin thing with his colors for sure. Like the color schemes he uses or
Yeah,
whatever, with these
yeah,
like greens flashing off of like these real pinks and oranges and
yep,
burnt
yep.
siennas and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but also when, remember, Den is flying through the universe or whatever when he did he
Yeah,
touch
when he
the
gets
green orb or
transported to
whatever? And
yeah, whenever he gets transported to
yeah,
Fa La La or whatever that planet
yeah,
is, whatever. Like,
yeah,
yeah, this is cool too. I love the like, you know, as he's getting closer to this immense thing, we see the light, playing across his face as it grows darker and darker and darker until we get to like, I like this shot right here because his little chin dimple makes it look
yeah,
like, makes it look like his whole face like is in shock,
like a
whatever. Like his
moon,
mouth is,
like it's the
yeah,
moon. Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty fun. I like that.
yeah. And this whole scene of this giant cosmic character kind of being formulated out of this giant whatever it is, it's just
That's
awesome.
not. This might be the Rec Lord right here, dude. I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
man. Like, I don't
yeah.
know. It doesn't look that far from your design, to be perfectly
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Well, I definitely think he was going Kirby design. I mean,
How do you not?
how can
Yeah,
you not do something space cosmic and be like, oh, Kirby?
yeah. You got to do the giant horns and all that stuff, dude. Like, you just
Yeah,
can't go Cosmic God without the giant horns or whatever on the helmet, dude. I
yeah,
love it. So cool. And it also evokes It also evokes why is it not coming to me? The Thor guy.
Oh, Hella,
No, your favorite artist,
right, right. Um,
Walter Simonson.
Walter Simonson. Yep.
Yeah, this is a very Walter Simonson vibe too, right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, definitely.
A little bit like like some elements in here remind me a little bit of like the dark elf characters or
Yep,
whatever.
yep.
It's like all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
this is like this is Sam finally. And I don't know that he's done another Sam piece since then. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah,
I think this might be.
there's another comic out there.
Is there
The
another
next
Sam?
one.
God, I don't have
The
that one
next
yet,
one.
and we need to get our hands on it so we can
Yeah.
figure out what's going on with Sam. Because this is where
Well,
the story
I
finally
love
begins.
cliffhangers. I'm a sucker for a cliffhanger, and it leaves
Yeah,
it in a
yeah.
little bit of a cliffhanger. So
And he comes, so finally, he's coming face to face with this cosmic god character. We got this Galactus type thing, that's drawing Sam in, sensing the level of power that, is floating out there, wandering or whatever. And,
yeah.
he's trying to
Jamie
figure out
says
his purpose.
Simonson is my favorite. I don't draw much like him, but I wanted some old school cosmic. I Simonson's my favorite too. I can't draw like him either, as much as I tried, but that's perfectly cool.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's nearly as important to draw like him as, like you're just putting elements of that stuff into your work. Your work is your work implicitly, and that's all it ever has to be.
Spiritually,
Yeah,
you're drawing
yeah.
like
You're
him.
just, we're just invoking the idea of those
Yeah,
that age of characters, and yeah, how could you not I tell you what, like right now, like I have the entire, we're on the second issue, and we're starting the third issue, and I still haven't defined in my head like if this is taking place in the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, 2020s. You know what I mean,
right.
dude? Like, because there's part of me that wants to just be like, sure, all this looks very futuristic and all this is that, but I want to say this might be a Silver Age comic that's happening in like 68 or something like that, or
Yeah,
57 or
yeah,
something, after some war, that just happened or whatever kind of thing, like, and that's
yeah,
the kind of stuff you want to slowly work into the narrative, because it's not important to just set that on a plate in front of people. You want to let people like come to it naturally. Maybe they start to think about it based on the way the characters behave or the way they dress, or you know what I mean, like things like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, and that's like the Alan Moore stuff right there. Like that's the things like Alan Moore is so brilliant at doing. It's like it's like when Alan Moore touches it, it's not even a superhero story. It's the science hero story. So we can,
He said Sentinel Sam Animus. That's the one he was talking that he has asked. Is the
well,
next
you need
one,
to
and
get it
it's
in.
available.
Yeah, we need to get our hands on that, man. Let me know. Like, I gotta send you $5 to get that or something, dude. Because I definitely need to get it, and we'll definitely cover that one whenever we get our
Yeah,
hands on it too. Because I'm sure people would be very interested in like finding out what happened with Sam.
yeah.
Also,
He says I'll be working on a third full length issue in 2026 to finish this arc. So Animus
let's
must be a little mini
let's
thing.
not forget that same comics are available now from Just Jamie Comics and Just Jamie
Yep.
Comics at Instagram. So definitely, if you're looking to get your hands on these, and I mean, everybody out there who grabbed Entropy Alliance, and all the people out there who have Funk, and all the people out there who have random access, definitely should get their hands on Sentinel Sam. Jamie is
Yeah,
one of
definitely.
the artists that we continually work with. He's an awesome storyteller and amazing comic book creator, and his comics are always available from Just Jamie Comics. Just Jamie is also the creator of Cyberzerker, which is appearing now in Random Access Comics, and that is awesome as well. If you like science fiction and sword and sorcery mixed, like Thundar the Barbarian, with like a Matrix vibe going on, it's like so dope. It's like Conan with lasers.
Yep. Yep. All right. So you want to call it a
All right.
day?
Well, things like that's about it. My name is Joe Leonardo. I'm the creator of Entropy Alliance. Uh, And I'm the creator. Alex and I are the creators of Entropy Alliance together. Actually, Alex is the creator of Entropy Alliance, to be perfectly honest. It was all his idea and
All right.
mainly his character and his concept of the game, but we work on it together. I'm going to
Yep.
show this off real fast. Look at oh man, look at that thing right there, dude. Man, that's a stack of comics. That's the second issue, totally completed. Boom, nice stack right there.
All right. Jamie says Cosmic Vagrant and Animus are both full length. The third will be called Introverse. So I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking this was the first one and this was the second one, but this is the first one and Animus is the second one. And
Well,
Introverse will be the third.
I think this is the first one. Sentinel Sam, the short
Right, but
story.
this is
Yeah,
like a zero. I think it's more like a zero than a number
I can
one.
see that. That makes sense. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
makes sense. That's essentially a zero story, and this is the beginning of his actual tale,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
makes sense because it ends. With, like I said, like it literally ends with like the story part finally happening. Like we've just been exploring the universe with Sam essentially, and here at the very end, you finally they have the cliffhanger idea of like some other character on some sort of cosmic level that's sort of similar to Sam in some sort of significant way, to where could deal with the level of power that Sam's exuding, and needs it for some unknown purpose or whatever. That's the most interesting thing right there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what the heck you need a guy like Sam for? And of course, I'm also the creator of Six Lords of Sound. I'm over here. I'm like, oh, don't forget to buy Red Room and WYSIWYG. But no, that's essentially what I'm doing here, man. Like, these are my two comics, Six Lords of Sound, Entropy
Yeah,
Alliance.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Six Lords of Sound is because of a six string guitar,
No, it's because there's six of them.
right? But is like our guitars? Don't guitars have six strings?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, it was just like a play on the Fantastic Four or whatever, when I came up with it. Like honestly, like it came about because like the original name of the team was gonna be uh Sonic Force, right?
Sonic Force. Oh, I like Six
Yeah.
Lords sound way more.
Because it was gonna be like a play on Cyber Force, right? Because that was like
Right,
one of the
right.
inspiration, even like one of the characters in here has three arms, just like the guy from Cyber Force or
Yeah,
whatever. So I was gonna call it Sonic Force. And then, in one of the dialogue bubbles, one of the characters goes, "Oh, we'll need the full force of all six Lords of Sound." And I remember Dan Goodwin, read it, was looking at it because it was I displayed the page on Instagram. And Dan Goodwin was like, "Dude, Six Lords of Sound." He's like, "That's awesome." And I was like, "All right, well, that's going to be the name of the book."
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cool. But you could also play into the six string guitar thing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of different like six key things in music or
Yeah,
whatever that it could
yeah,
play into. So yeah, it's one of those fun ideas that the more you explore it, the more you can unlock it or whatever. Like for sure. So let's
yeah.
take a look at random access this month.
This is it, Random Access 37, which today I am putting together Random Access 38. So this one though has me, Astor D, Tim Quinn, Jack Jr., Doug Roberts, Dave Citrone, Paul Corjon, and Jay Quirk, and Jeremy Duncan. Whew! I try to pack as many people in these things as I possibly can, but there's always awesome, great artists.
I
And
saw someone online looking at funk and random accesses recently.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's so much
We
good
always have
stuff in
great
those
stuff.
books, dude.
Yeah,
And it's so rad to see like random access getting more and more awesome artists in it. It's cool to see the stories, being told like all the way through to their completion in some circumstances and stuff. And
yeah,
it's just really cool to see like a lot of these artists who, maybe created like one page little vignettes for their Instagrams finally have a place to put all these and maybe, like gaining
yeah.
inspiration to,
Yep.
collaborate them into like whole books and stuff like that. Like we're seeing with Wiley Draws and his what's it called? Kitty, Roscoe and Kitty or whatever, which
Oh
is
yeah.
I really like
Yeah,
Roscoe and Kitty quite a bit.
that's not Wiley though. That's
Is that
Jeremy.
Wiley?
No, that's Jeremy Duncan.
I think we're all over the place. Is that Jeremy Duncan? Well,
Yeah.
whomever it
Yeah.
is, I don't want to discredit anyone.
Right.
I'm sorry
Right.
if I got that incorrect.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always pushing all of the artists to make their universes bigger, and because so many of them are like, oh, I'll just put one or two pages on webtoons or whatever online thing, and I'm like, no, why don't you add some color? Why don't you focus on a character? Why don't you? And I think so much of it is people just don't have confidence in their work, and hopefully if they get into random access and they're working with other artists and they're talking to other artists, maybe their confidence can grow to a point where they're like, hey, yeah, maybe I can put out a full comic book on my own.
Yeah. And even if you're just doing like one page little blurbs or whatever, like Far Side or something,
Yeah, yeah,
if you get enough of them done, then you can take them all and put them together and have a whole little collected comic book of
yeah,
your
yeah,
humor and your satire or whatever it is, and maybe that might inspire you to actually begin telling a little story or that kind of thing. So yeah, man, random access is awesome. It's really cool that it's a place for any artist to get any of their stuff into, and everybody should get out there. And if you are artists and you'd like to get your stuff into random access, by all means contact Alex on Instagram at Alexander Turbin on Instagram, which is Alexander Turbin
Alex Turbin 0441. Yeah, Alex Turbin 041. Yeah.
I'm Joe Leonardo. My Instagram title is Awfully World, and if you'd like to get your hands on any of these in the near future, you probably can't because I don't have any of them printed right now. But
we're working on it.
Future, there will be more copies coming, and when you want to get your hands on those, you'll contact me at my Instagram at Awfully World. And I think that covers all of our bases for today. We want to just say thank you for Jamie for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Amy.
for anybody else who came in online and left a comment or now. We really appreciate that. If you guys watch the entire show, that's totally awesome. And that really helps the algorithm kick the show out to other comic book viewers like yourself. Alex and I want to take the moment to say thank you so much for joining us. Um, is there anything else you'd like to say before we get out of here, Alex?
No, all set.
All right, you guys know what we do. We're just going to say Merry Christmas because we're not likely to be back here before Christmas comes again. And we hope you guys all have a really wonderful holiday. Alex and I appreciate your time. Once again, this is Comic Books from Coast to Coast. I'm Joe Leonardo, Awfully World on Instagram. He is Alexander Turbin, Alexander Turbin 04401 on Instagram. And we always say at the end of our show, everybody's a creator, everybody's doing good work, but in order to do your good work, you got to get out there and keep on creating.
Thanks for watching.